Senator, great to have you here on in Springfield.
Hey, Tim, great to be with you. Great to be with Bonnie, and I think Jason is there too this morning. And you're right; it's a legendary station. Keep watching the Ozarks. Was the original one of the original stations in our state. Actually, first time I've been on Zimmer Radio in Springfield. Though I will say that Ken Meyer and his wife were and have been for a long time great friends and advisors of mine and pioneers in the radio business themselves. But Zimmer Radio will be a great addition to Southwest Missouri, and glad to be with all of you this morning.
Yeah, thank you, Senator. So, Senator, let's talk about something we haven't gotten to yet, but I know you're heavily focused on, and that is the confirmation vote of Amy Coney Barrett. First, tell our audience, Senator Blunt, all of our compatriots down here in Southwest Missouri. Amy Coney Barrett, I think she's one of the most qualified candidates to be Justice of the Supreme Court that I've ever seen.
Well, even the ABA, that seems to have a hard time with Republican nominees, said she was at the highest level of qualification. She is a brilliant person, but such a great person to watch in action. That patience, that humility. A couple of stories I heard about Amy that I really liked. One was the dean of the Notre Dame Law School said if Professor Barrett was in the room, no matter how many people were in the room, the smartest person in the room was also always the most humble person in the room. And I think we saw a lot of that at her confirmation hearing. And then running an ad in Washington that you may or may not have seen of a blind law student at Notre Dame who now is the first woman blind law clerk on the Supreme Court. And she was having a hard time adjusting to the special needs that were not quite there yet at Notre Dame for her. And she went and talked to Professor Barrett about the problems she was having. And Amy Coney Barrett's reaction to her was, this is no longer your problem. It's now my problem. And then she did everything she needed to do to solve that problem for a young woman who's now clerking on the United States Supreme Court. And, she's going to be confirmed in a few days. The committee will vote her out on Thursday. And she'll be a great addition to the court, hopefully for a long time. And I'm delighted she's going to be there. I was asked early, before she was even named, I think I was on Face the Nation that weekend, well, what if the president nominates Amy Coney Barrett? And I said, I absolutely would vote for her. And she was on my short list, frankly, the last time there was an opening. And I look forward to seeing her join the court and all the things she can do for the court, hopefully for decades.
Speaking to Missouri's senior senator, Missouri Senator, U.S. Senator Roy Blunt, Senator, the Democrats did not seem to land any significant punches on Amy Coney Barrett. A lot of them had very dismal performances. They tended to use their time to pontificate or to attack the president. So it seems to be that their new line of attack, Senator, is to sort of dance around this issue of packing the court. And I'm sure many of the most left-leaning liberals in the Democratic Party are absolutely in favor of packing the court. Joe Biden won't quite give us an answer on that. Senator, I know you to be a deep student of history. Would you explain to our listeners here what would be so dangerous about packing the U.S. Supreme Court?
Well, the idea of packing the court, and the Democrats, including Joe Biden right now, are saying, well, the Republicans have been packing the court with conservative judges. What the Republicans have been doing is putting judges on to fill vacancies. And, of course, for that to happen, what I said in 2016, what I've been saying this year, for that to happen, two things have to be in agreement. The president has to be willing to nominate somebody, and the Senate, who has an equal constitutional obligation to confirm that person, has to be willing to confirm that person. And when the President and the Senate are in political alignment in the 29 cases that have occurred, vacancies in an election year, they've almost always filled the vacancy, and if the Senate and the president are not in agreement, they have not. But court packing, only one real serious effort in the history of the country was made to add judges to the court because President Franklin Roosevelt was not happy with the decisions that his administration had been getting from the court. Overwhelmingly a Democrat Congress in 1937. Roosevelt, probably at the height of his political powers up until that time, was not able to get this done. It was as Joe Biden explained it 20 years ago, a boneheaded idea that the president has the right to propose, but it would be, I think, a big mistake. A lot of why the court works the way it does and is respected the way it is they work in an atmosphere of respect for each other, even when they don't agree. And, Ginsburg and Scalia, probably the greatest recent example of that. And even Ruth Bader Ginsburg said she thought 9 was the right number. If the court gets bigger than 9, those personal relationships, those daily meetings around the table that the Supreme Court justices have when they're deciding on cases would be much more difficult to do. One, the way to be sure we don't pack the court is return President Trump and a Republican Senate. And I'll be surprised, frankly, if Joe Biden gives a very definitive answer on that topic between now and Election Day. He says he will. Let's see if he keeps his word.
Senator, one of the other big items I know you're working on this week is the another coronavirus relief package for Missourians, for Americans, small business owners, individuals. You reminded the good folks of Twitterland that on your Twitter feed at Roy Blunt that just last month, Senate Democrats blocked you all from even debating a relief package. Would you tell us, Senator, what's the update on the current negotiations? What's in the package? Where are the sticking points? And can it possibly get done before the election?
Well, I think what we're seeing from Speaker Pelosi is what happens when somebody is given too much authority by their own conference, and she's putting laying these deadlines out and telling the White House what they're going to do, and eventually would try to tell the Senate what we're going to do. The problem is, Tim, that there's almost total agreement on the issues that truly relate to the COVID problems, both fighting the virus and the challenges to the economy. And from day one, the Speaker has wanted to add in that $3 trillion bill an entire $1 trillion that had nothing to do with either of those things, and then another big amount of money, almost $1 trillion, that related to replacing state and local revenue with money that we don't have. Some of that could happen. We've tried to put a package together to where the states all already got at least $1 billion for the cost they wouldn't have had before this. We'll see. We're going to try to have another bill this week that would have $500 billion of items that relate to getting back to school, getting back to work, getting back to child care, getting back to better health, that I think an easy majority of Democrats in the House would be willing to vote for. But I think we're going to find, again, Democrats in the Senate not even willing to debate what we agree on and then come back and try to do more of what we don't agree on in a bigger compromise moment. But I think we've missed the opportunity to help in all those areas I just mentioned, and I think it's unfortunate that our members of the House, Democrats in the House, saw this as an opportunity to take over the election process and federalize it, to change banking regulations as it related to people in the marijuana business, to do all sorts of things that maybe you should debate, but not as part of an emergency COVID package.
Yeah, it really wasn't much of a Christmas tree. It was an entire tree farm, it seemed to me, Senator. Uh, yeah,
Exactly.
Roy. Last question for you. 2 weeks before the election, Senator, a lot of the liberal media talking heads wrote the president's obituary for this election like a month ago. The polls, as they always do, have dramatically narrowed from everything that you're seeing. Is this 2016 all over again? Is there more enthusiasm for the president? It's hard to disregard, as much as the liberal media is trying to, the massive show up at these rallies and the enthusiasm on the ground. So, Roy, tell us about the presidential election, and also, as the president goes, possibly goes the U.S. Senate as well, right?
Well, I think that it's certainly hard to imagine that we keep the numbers we have without winning the presidential election. I do think the Senate, no matter who gets elected president, is critically important. We don't have a Senate race in our state this year, and so I'm looking at and helping in Senate races around the country. I was on a fundraising call yesterday with former Auburn coach Tommy Tuberville in Alabama, which is a race that we believe Republicans will for sure add to the Republican column, and then we'll have to see what happens in even our neighboring states of Iowa and Kansas, where we have two very, very close races going on. In terms of the president, one, there is always a hidden Trump vote, people who just don't respond to pollsters, maybe because they don't think it's anybody's business what they're going to do. Who knows what that hidden vote is about. I think it's a good thing the election is not today, but we're in a lot better shape today than we were a week ago. And 2 weeks is a long time in politics, and the president's personal effort will not be exceeded by anybody else. He is tireless when it comes to making his case to the American people. He's going to be out there. I think there's going to be a number of states very close on Election Day, but all of those states that we think will be close are closer today in any polling than they were a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and headed in the right direction. So we'll just see. In our state, we've got a lot of statewide races up, important legislative and county races up. The one thing everybody in a democracy can do to make a difference is get out there and participate, and hopefully we'll see a huge Missouri turnout on Election Day 2 weeks from today.
We especially need that here in your home region of Southwest Missouri. We need to run up the score down here. U.S. Senator Roy Blunt, you're tireless as well. I know that personally, having worked with you for so many years. I want to thank you personally, Roy, for everything you do for the region of Southwest Missouri and the entire state of Missouri as well. Thank you, Roy. Good luck to you, Senator, up there in D.C. all this week. Be safe, be sound, and we'll hope to see you back again here soon. You'll have to come in and visit us in studio.
I'm looking forward to it, Tim, and look forward to the presence of Zimmer Radio and you, along with my other friends who are there who have been good friends for such a long time, and look forward to seeing all of you soon.